Today, I broke the streak of having not gone out for anything but work or for eating, because today I once again went up to Kitsap to visit my cousin. And if you heard the last episode where I talked about going to Kitsap to visit my cousin, you'll remember that it was an awkward experience because both of us are kind of a non-decisive people who don't necessarily know what to do in a social situation, and so it was just basically a conversation that went, "Yo, what do you want to do?" Well, I don't know. I guess we could watch YouTube videos. So I guess maybe, or we could go out get something to eat. Just like that, but all day long. However, this time I was able to avoid all that awkwardness because this time I went with my brother, my younger brother, who happens to be a lot more socially adept than I am, because he is willing to, I guess, from a social standpoint, throw himself under the bus. He is willing to throw stuff out there conversationally that may or may not work, may or may not make someone laugh, or may or may not keep someone entertained, but he's always willing to keep his mouth going, and he's always willing to keep it interesting. And also, he is very much better at making decisions. So we were able to make decisions much quicker with him in the group, and it was much easier. So the first thing we did was we decided to go to the mall of our childhood. It was a mall that's in Silverdale called the Kitsap Mall, and we used to go to it all the time when we were kids. We wanted to go to it for the sake of nostalgia, for getting a sense of the past. But the problem with doing that with a mall is that malls, if you don't know, indoor malls are constantly changing. They do nothing but change. So almost every store that was in that mall was a store we did not recognize. It was a store that was not there in our childhoods. I mean, there were very few, maybe just like a Hot Topic and a Spencer's Gifts, and that was it. That was the only stores that I remember. There used to be a candy store. There used to be an arcade. There used to be oh man, what was that place called? Like software, electronics, etc., that eventually turned into a GameStop. There used to be all kinds of stores that were really fun and interesting, and none of them were there. And so it was kind of like a boring thing, but it was worth trying. It was a fun experience in that we did try to do something. After that, we wanted to watch a movie, but then we found out that nothing good was playing, and all the good movies that were maybe slightly good were playing really late, and we didn't want to wait for that long, and so we decided against that. Instead, we went to the beach. This particular beach that we went to had a very long pier, I think maybe a quarter of a mile long. You walk all the way to the end of this pier, and at the end there's a little section where you have this view of the water, the beautiful calm bay water, not like the ocean water at the edge of the ocean, but at the bay, so it's nice small gentle waves. And also across the water you have this view of an island, with a bunch of houses and trees. Beautiful stuff. Beyond that island is another island, same houses and trees, and then beyond that, way way in the background, shaded with a tint of blue because that's the color of the sky, is Mount Rainier, the giant mountain that is one of Washington's features, I guess. And so, yeah, we just hung out there for a little while. And then at the end of that, my brother decided that he wanted to do something spontaneous, so he stripped down to his boxers and then jumped off of the dock into the water, which was fun to watch. And then, after that, we just went to my cousin's house, hung out in his room, and played video games all day. Actually, I shouldn't say video games because we only played one game. It was a game that was a new pirate MMO. If you don't know what MMO means, it's a massively multiplayer online. Massively multiplayer online meaning that there are many people online in this game playing at the same time, and they can all interact with each other. So the game that we played was a new game that came out in March called Sea of Thieves. And it was released for the Windows and the Xbox One or something like that. And that's what we played. And this game, I think, mechanic-wise, it has some very interesting stuff and very good stuff. Very good, there's a lot of good things going for it. I love the way that you have complete control of every single part of the ship, and you have to individually control those aspects. You have to change the direction of the sail. You have to steer the ship. You have to unfurl the sail or furl the sail. You have to drop the anchor. You have to take care of the ship. You have to go down, and if there's like a leakage, you have to get a bucket and like sift water out. There's a lot of very interesting stuff that makes it feel very real. And the waves that the ship goes over, they feel great. And the fact that you definitely get a feeling of like docking at islands, and like, I don't know, there's a lot of great things about it. But as far as an MMO is concerned, I think it's kind of wasted potential, because the thing that separates an MMO, a massively multiplayer online game, from any other type of game is that in an MMO you have billions and billions of humans, or maybe not billions, but you have many, many humans all in the same room together. Meaning you don't need to create a story for them to follow. You don't need to make quests. Like this game has like a bunch of these quests where you get a quest, and then you go to an island, and then you kill some skeletons, and then you get some treasure, and then you bring it back to your ship, and then you have it. Then you have treasure. And that's what you do. You do a bunch of these quests. Oh, you go to this island, you fetch this box, you bring this box through this territory, and then you're good. And those things, I'm not saying that those things are necessarily bad in a game. I'm just saying that I don't want to see those things in an MMO. In an MMO, I want to see the most interesting things that ever happen in an MMO are interactions with the other player, right? And in this game, for some reason, those interactions were very few and far between. Like, you only occasionally run into each other when you happen to be doing the same thing or happen to be in the same area. I think that with a game like this, people should be constantly running into each other, because like the most interesting part of this game, when I was most focused on it, was when there were other people, and you knew there were other people, and you knew that they weren't going to do some NPC thing. They weren't going to be some standard objective. Like, they were going to do something weird, and you don't know what that thing is. You don't know if they're going to shoot you or if they're going to befriend you. You don't know what's going to happen, and it's interesting. That's the most interesting thing, is when human beings are interacting with each other, and you don't need to create any kind of story. You just need to have that happen. And I feel like this game didn't really have that happen. And it would have been better if there was less quests, less that kind of stuff, and just more human-on-human interaction. I think that quests would naturally come out of that. Like, people would naturally become leaders. Like, people would naturally form hierarchies and naturally form different sects and naturally battle with each other. And maybe there might be interesting strategies with that. Like, can you imagine? Like, imagine a situation where a guy wants to take control of an island. And so he finds, like, the highest point on that island and then just snipes at people. All people who are trying to come to this island before they can even get to a point where they can dock on the island. Then eventually, imagine a bunch of people say, I don't like this guy staying on this island all alone. And so they all team up, and like you have 40 ships shooting cannons at this guy as he's trying to snipe them, but they're all hiding inside the below deck so that they can't be seen. And it's like, I don't know. I just want to imagine like a world or a game where all these strategies are just constantly changing, because the human interactions are the most interesting kind of interactions in games. And it's kind of like completely wasted on this. Great mechanics, but needs to have better interactions. So we played that game for pretty much the rest of the night, and then me and my brother left, and we came home, and now we're home, and this is where we are. And so I guess that's the end of this episode of the Kokino Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did not, I don't know, leave a comment saying what I need to do that will make it better. If you did like it, leave a comment saying what you liked about it, because encouragement helps make more things happen. And if you don't want to leave a comment, just hit the like button. That'd help too. That would let me know that someone is actually watching these, which I don't know yet. Like, when you see, you can look at a view count of, you can look at a view on a video and see, well, maybe they just clicked on the video for 1 second, then like watched 1 second of it and thought this was stupid, and then unclicked. You know, that's usually what a view count is, right? You got to think about audience retention. So yeah, if you actually did watch this entire video, or if you liked it, hit that like button. If you didn't like it, hit that dislike button. I don't know. Do whatever. Interact with this video if you can. This is the end of the Kokino Podcast. I will see you next time.